Hello there and welcome to Conversations. I'm John Klassek, and today from the Church of God Seventh Day we're talking with Calvin Burrell and Bryan Cleeton about their work in mission and ministry.
But our first stop was in the North Philippine island of Mindanao in the city of Cagayan de Oro, where we spent a delightful Sabbath with our brethren there. There's 75 or so congregations of the church in the island of Mindanao and in the southern half of the Philippines.
We had some time for teaching on several subjects important to the Philippine Conference, on ecumenicism and also Pentecostalism. And we had the next day we spent time with the Board of Trustees discussing a variety of different issues, and just to encourage them and give them some advice maybe on certain things. But very positive experience.
The church in the Philippines is 75 years old. I think they were celebrating 75th anniversary while we were there. And so they're a rather mature church that have been there a while and worked hard and still hope to... there are 7,000 islands in the Philippine Islands, and of course not all of them are inhabited, but their goal is to cover the islands even more than they are now with the faith that we share together in CG7 and in the Christian faith.
And from there, Bryan, where did you head on then to?
Well, we flew from Manila to Hyderabad, India, spending 6 days with Jacob Rao in the church in India, and primarily in Andhra Pradesh. The first 3 days we spent traveling through Khammam district and also West Godavari, where T.V. Rao and also P. Kennedy are the overseers in those areas. We had opportunity to have some pastors' conferences in both locations, and also to visit several churches along the way. And just very warm, welcoming people, and it's really feel we're blessed by our experience there.
I hadn't been to the Philippines before, so that was a revisit, although it was Bryan's first time in the Philippines. But for both of us, it was a first-time introduction to India. And as you can imagine, the sights and sounds and smells and all there was in the sensory experience there in India was just somewhat overwhelming to us. The brethren there are very warm. They're meeting us for the first time. They were very respectful and warm, and we tried in every way we could to respond to them in kind, to respect and honor them as our brethren, as our peers in faith, not below us, or we're not above them. We had a role to play there and in teaching and sharing and offering counsel, but at the same time we just enjoyed the fellowship, and they got up and sang wholeheartedly and enthusiastically, and just a whole lot of positive to report there, John. I hope I'm targeting what you're asking for.
How long were you there for in India?
6 days.
Wow. From India, where did you go to then?
We went to Sri Lanka from Monday night this week, and arrived late. Ashley Moni, someone who's been in contact with GC Missions, the IMC, for a couple of years now. He's actually visited the United States. He met us. We met him in Michigan several years ago, but we were returning the favor and coming to visit his homeland and to see what he's up to and what his dreams are, what his hopes are for COG7. The COG7 is not currently established in Sri Lanka, but Ashley Moni has a vision to plant the church there and provide some leadership, and we were coming to assess and also, we arrived in Colombo. We traveled that day to a place called Hatton, which is a high point, a mountainous area where there's beautiful tea plantations. And I mean, Sri Lanka in general is it's a tropical paradise, and it was really a beautiful place. We enjoyed the time with Ashley and his family. And then also the second day, we were there 2 days. The second day we had the opportunity to visit a local pastor and also visit some of the congregation members. which was very interesting and really a blessing to us, and just really encouraging.
Oh, that's really good. You mentioned that you work doing this under the umbrella of International Ministerial Congress, the IMC, and GC missions. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
International Ministerial Congress is the worldwide organization of the Church of God Seventh Day. It's not a highly structured organization. It's entirely voluntary, and about 40 different national conferences have become members of the IMC, as we call it, the Congress. And every 4 years we attempt to get the leadership, which would be leading ministers in those 40 nations, together. We've never been successful getting all 40 together. I think the last time we got around 20, which isn't too bad. We met in London just over a year ago. And our efforts are to provide fellowship for the international church so that we stay pretty much on the same page doctrinally, not perfect unity in doctrine, but harmony in doctrine, even on the things where there are differences. And our second purpose, in addition to that kind of fellowship around the essentials of our faith, the second purpose of the Congress would be to join hands in extending the gospel message together into nations where our church is not represented and where the gospel is not widely known. So the Congress is an important part of us. Actually, Brian and I represent the missions arm of the General Conference of the Church of God Seventh Day in the United States and Canada. And we're traveling as a direct outreach of GC missions, General Conference missions in the United States and Canada. I also happen to be a member of the International Ministerial Congress. I'm a vice president of the Congress, so I'm kind of wearing two hats. But these two organizations that I'm describing, John, GC missions from U.S. and Canada, and IMC, which is the international, are in the closest of harmony, and sometimes it's almost hard to distinguish where GC missions end and the IMC begins, because we overlap and share the same goals almost 100%.
Well, it's every location is going to be a little different, but some of the things I personally feel like our strengths are the desire for unity, for fellowship. India in particular is an association of churches that are working to bring together like-minded people. They're very open to other organizations that they believe similar things and want to include them as much as possible. And also, I think that another strength obviously is their understanding of their own culture and what's needed in those places, and just the vision that they have. I think many of our leaders around the world have strong vision for what they hope to accomplish, and sometimes it just needs a little bit of extra support from the rest of us to help them achieve their goals, their vision. And
when you were in India, for example, how did you manage? How was the language barrier? Was that an issue at all?
Yes. Yes, English is actually considered the second language in the nation of India, but it seemed to me that no more than 10% of the people really were fluent so that they easily understood and conversed in English. Most of them were doing the primary language, which was Telugu, and so we were translated regularly from English into Telugu so that the hearers could hear in their primary language, their birth language, rather than what's kind of an official second language of English. But, you know, love and faith and peace and joy and music communicate in every language. And
from here, you head back to Asia again tonight. Where are you headed to?
We're traveling to Myanmar. It's formerly called Burma. Has been the Church of God has been there for a number of years. Fairly small group of churches, but they are dedicating a new seminary building there. They're hoping to train pastors, and we're going to be visiting there in the capital where the school is. But we're also going to be traveling to a more remote region called Tahan. And the brothers there have been really looking forward to a visit. They've never had it. I don't believe anybody ever visit that part of their country, and we're hoping to. We're also planning to have another pastors' conference, and also address some other issues that are important to them, and that we might be able to provide some form of advice or support for.
The political situation in Myanmar has been a little less friendly and open to Westerners, maybe to Christians specifically. Until the last 2 or 3 years, we're hearing good news about the opening of the borders and a greater welcome sign out to those of us who will be traveling for purposes we are.
I think that the IMC forms an important support for our brothers around the world. It's important particularly for smaller groups, but also in countries where Christianity is not the majority. The IMC provides an important support to these men, that they feel like they're a part of a bigger group of believers, and so that's very important to them, and also to know that we're supporting them in prayer.
Well, Brian and Calvin, may God bless and protect and guide you for the rest of your journey, and may the fruits of your gift and grace and time in India, Philippines, Sri Lanka, here in Western Australia, and now Myanmar, bear the fruits and strengthen the bonds and ties. Thank you very much.